All right, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm gonna do another Helix video, and I'm gonna run through the process of creating a patch. And I think this is probably the best way of showing the capabilities of the Helix. Is just run through how I go about creating a patch, and just run it through. So to create a new patch, you can just go to New Preset and just double click on it. And what it does is basically opens up an empty preset. Okay, what I thought I'd do is create a preset for a song. I'll use Tom Petty, Refugee. And if you're familiar with Tom Petty, in particular Mike Campbell, the guitar player, uh, the stuff that he used a lot of stuff actually. But he was when his song was recorded. Vox amps, Fenders, Marshalls, Gibson guitars, Rickenbackers. Oh God, what else? Fenders, used Stratocasters. So anyway, so I thought I'd run through how to create a preset if you wanted to create one for this song. So the first thing I would do is I'd look and I'd set my inputs, and I'm going to set it to multi. And then what I would do is here I'd like to use a compressor. So I would go to Dynamics and I'd use the LA Studio comp. I like this one. Although the Red Squeeze is nice. That's more for country. The Deluxe comp is good. The Kinky comp, they're all good. You know, they all have their advantages and disadvantages. The LA comp is more of a balanced compressor. So I'll start with that. And from there, knowing the song, I don't need a wah pedal. I could throw a volume pedal in there, but I don't really need it for this song either. I'd probably go with a distortion pedal. Now here you got a couple options. I know that Mike used a tube screamer, so that would be one. Also, I personally I like the Minotaur. So I want to put that in there too. Might use it, might not. I don't know. I'm just setting it up right now. Then I'll give a blank space if in case I need to add something else. Not that I couldn't do it later, because you can simply drag and drop these blocks. Like I can take this block and I can say, well, I'll move it here, and then have an opening there. So, and here I'll put the amp in. Now this is kind of like, well, you kind of got to do a little experimenting and listen to the song and figure out, if you're looking to get close to the song. Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. It depends. But let's just go with, I'm guessing he probably either used a Vox for this song, or a Marshall, an older Marshall. There's not a whole lot of clean. It's kind of more of a dirt sound. So, let me see here. The matchless probably would work good too. Okay, let me go with the AC30, the bright channel. And right before I get to the end of path 1A here, well, actually, you know what I can do is I can take path 1A here and move it to path 2A, so that the signal chain is flowing from the output here, 1A, down to 2A. And I'll take this block here, and I'll add an impulse response. Now, let me see what I got here. And I'm doing this on the fly too, guys, just so you know. This is the way I would do it. I'm basically thinking out loud, and I got some diesels. In fact, I do have some Vox impulses. But you know, let me go with the Marshall, and let me go with the 1A. And what I can do now is I want to run a dual cab. So I'll take this IR, I'll click on it, left click, and drag it down and create a parallel path. I'll have a Y split here, and I'll add another impulse. And let me see what I got here. I got number 51 here. So I'll come up here and I'll go to 51. So I basically got the same two cabs. Now, I may change this around. I'm not going to get into super detailed stuff because it would take a while. Because creating a patch for a song, usually it takes me maybe 30 minutes, 30 to 40 minutes. It can get, if it's really involved with a lot of effects, it could take a lot longer than that. But this song, I think I'll be able to knock this out pretty quick. Plus, I have the option with the software to actually pause it and continue recording. So if I get to a point where I need to check something out, I can just pause it, and you won't have to sit there and be bored. Okay, so I got the amp, I got the cabs, and this is kind of like usually what I do up on 1A. As I kind of do all the heavy lifting up here, I'll put my amp and my cabs and so forth. Now, I know there's no real clean sound in this song, so a dual amp won't be needed. So, actually, you know what? Let me slide this over here. And so I got a lot of space here in front of the amp for anything I might even put a kinky boost in here, a boost pedal. Which, you know what? I think I will. Let's put that in there now. So I'll put a kinky boost in there and turn it off. I'm using my Harley Benton, the SC550, the Tobacco Flame. And, all right. So this path is running down here to 2A. Let me, no, I'm probably going to want a little more distortion than that. Here, I think the kinky boost works better. And at the end of the chain, I usually like to put an EQ. So let me put that in there now. And let me turn it off. And then a reverb. I kind of like the 63 spring, but not quite that much. And a delay, probably, let me go with transistor tape is more of a classic type reverb. Delay. That's not the delay timing I'm going to be using, but I'm just putting them in for now. And also, I don't like the delay running into the reverb. So let me create another parallel path here on 2B. And I'll run the delay behind the reverb so that the delay isn't going into the reverb and get that kind of washy sound. I mean, sometimes you want that. For me, my own personal taste, I don't quite like that sound. So this is the way I normally do it, but not always. But so I got the another Y split here, and 50% is running to the delay. It's coming out behind the reverb. So you got reverb kind of going separately. It's not running into each other, and then it just mixes or merges, and we'll go through the EQ, which I'll use at the end of the patch to kind of top it off to get the EQ right. So also I like on the IRs, I usually set the low cut, I don't know, around 100 or so. I mean, I'll tinker with it, and the low cuts usually between 5 and 6. And let me just kind of get it roughly around there, and go with that. Okay, that doesn't sound too bad. Let me see. Let me look at the Kinky Boost. I mean, the what do I got on? Oh no, I got the Tube Screamer on. Now I know that's a pedal that he used. That's a little darker sounding, so maybe I'll turn the bright on, hear what that sounds like. Yeah, let me see here. Yeah, let's go with the Tube Screamer. And we'll keep the gain right around here, all right? And I'm not going to screw with that too much. Let me look at the amp here. Now this is not a high gain type amp, so I want to increase the gain a little bit, but not too much. So what I do here now, I would go to the bypass controller, and I would go to the gain, or the drive in this case, and I want to set the controller to snapshot. Back to the other. So now you'll notice that it's in brackets. And I want to play around with this a little bit. Yeah, there you go. Right about there. Alright, so pull back on the bass a little bit. And I want to turn the treble up slightly. Okay. That sounds pretty close. Now, I'm not going to get it perfect. I would probably spend a lot more time with it, but I just want to give you an idea of some of the processes I may go through, and how a patch is built, and some of the options that you can use. That sounds pretty good for the intro. So what I would do now, I mean, there's some more tweaking I can do to that, but I'm just going to roll with that for now. So what I would do is rename snapshot number 1 to intro. I would save it. I'd come down here to new preset. Oops. And just rename it. So the song, and if you're listening, I mean, if you know the song, it's F sharp minor to A to E. And there's a little lead intro. And for that, I'm going to go to snapshot 2. And basically all I'm going to do here because it's you know, it's not a lot of delay. It's not a huge boost. It's not this big guitar coming in. But I'm going to want to increase the volume a little bit, like boost it. Now, there's a few ways you can do it. You can do it through the IRs, on the levels. I can do it through the compressor. I can do it through the EQ, or I can do it through the channel volume on the amp. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to increase the channel volume. So I'm going to come over here and go to channel volume, and I'll change that to snapshot. Go back to editor, and you'll see that these are in brackets. So I want to have an increase in the volume here. And let's see here. And let me just change this to, I'll call it a boost. It's not the solo. It's just going to be a boost. And then save it. Now you'll hear the difference when I go from the intro to the boost. So it'll be something like... Now, I could add a little delay, but very light. And let me go with a dot. Let me see. Let me go with a dotted eighth note. Here we go. Oops, not eighth, dotted eighth. Okay, that sounds good. I have the tempo set at 91 here. I'm not sure why. That's how it just came up, but I'm not sure if that's a tempo or not. But so what I would do here is the mix. I'm going to want to lower the mix, and I'm probably going to want a different delay setting for the lead as opposed to just this boost. So what I would do is go into the controller again and go to mix, change that to snapshot, go back to editor, and you'll notice that the mix now, you have brackets, and I can hear the feedback is way too much. That's not too bad. That's close. And the trails, I'll throw the trails on. And what happens with the trails is if you switch to a different snapshot, if there's a delay going, it won't kill the delay immediately. It'll let it trail into the next snapshot, which is, it just sounds more professional, and it's, I usually have them on. And let me go to the gain here, and, you know, let me go ahead and go with the gain and put that in snapshot mode too. Yeah, we're getting there, and let me just save that, because I'm going to be changing these gains around when I get to the actual lead patch. So you got the intro. And listening to it, I can tell I need a little more on the boost. So what I can do is, yeah, let me just go right, since I already got this set out here. Let me just turn that up just a bit. I mean, it still needs more tweaking, but I think you get the idea. You just got to keep playing with the levels and adding more gain or EQ to get to where you need to go. So, okay, what the other part is when it goes into the pre-chorus, where it goes to the that little D to B minor. So I'll go to snapshot 3, and let me just change it to, I'll call it a pre-chorus. And what I'd want to do now, I don't want that as loud as the boost. So I'll just take that down to, let's go back to the intro. Wait, let me save that. Go back to the intro, and the channel volume is at 8 for the intro. Go to pre-chorus. Oh, so the pre-chorus and the intro are the same. Okay. You'll notice that the boost goes up to 8.9, and the pre-chorus is going back down. Wait, hold on a second here. Alrighty. Alright, so I got the pre-chorus. I got the intro, the boost for the little lead intro, and the pre-chorus. So I'm just going to play the parts like right after one another. Okay. Now, how the song goes is a little different. The intro is kind of a heavier distortion. When it goes to the verse, there's not quite as much distortion. So let me go to snapshot 4. Take off the distortion. And that's pretty damn close where I want to be on the verse. And, yeah, I think that's close enough. And I'll save that. So it would be something like... be during the verse, and then when it goes to the pre-chorus, okay, you'll probably notice that the intro and the pre-chorus are basically the same patch. So, I mean, I'm just putting it there just so that for demonstration purposes. But if I was to use this patch, I would just basically have an intro patch, which would also be the chorus patch and the pre-chorus patch. And then I would just have a boost, a verse, and then a solo. And, oh, you know what? Let me show you something that you can do with this. For the lead solo, let me go to pre-chorus. And I got a little bit of a delay on there. But let me change this to the lead solo. So what I'd probably want to do is boost the gain up. Shouldn't have done that, but that's okay. And I can go to here and I'll increase the mix a little. Let's go to the EQ here. Yeah, I think that's a pretty decent lead sound right there. And I'd probably want to increase the volume on that. And let me just rename that. So you have something like the intro. Then you have your little intro. Then a verse. Then you can go to the pre-chorus, which you could also use the intro. And also the chorus. Then you can go to the lead. And there you go. You got a patch made up for a song. Now, I didn't go through the EQ thing, other than the lead. I got it turned on for that, but you'll notice, like, when I go to boost, well, let me just save the lead there. When I go to boost, it turns off. If you're only going to use the EQ for just the lead, then that would be fine. But if you wanted to use it on the intro or the boost patch or the verse patch, then you'd have to change these to snapshot mode. And this way you can literally have the EQ changing per snapshot. So, yeah, so you could probably see, like, the advantages of being able to do this, because you basically got a MIDI controller and all these amps and all these effects and all these parameters that you can control to come up with a patch for a song. So what I end up with, I got the AC30 on a bright channel, a couple Marshall cabs, a couple distortions, one I didn't even use, the Kinky Boost, the Minotaur I didn't even use, so I could take that out. If I wanted to add something to it, I could. I got plenty of space. I haven't run into a problem yet where, you know, I just didn't have enough, that kind of thing. And usually that's what you run into. I don't have this effect, or I couldn't do this or that. With this, I've never run into that yet, and I've created some patches, some you know, pretty heavy effect, intense stuff, and didn't have a problem with it. So I hope you liked the video. I know this is kind of long, but hopefully it's informative and shed a little light on how to use the Helix and how I use it. And I thought it'd be better just to do it using a patch for a song that that hopefully you know. And yeah, so that's about it. Have a great day.